Hey MVPs, Rico Knows here. Going to talk to you guys about the next fight on the main card, and it should be a really exciting one. You have Jalin Turner against Ignacio Bahamondes. It's a lightweight fight. They fight at 155. Both these guys are 6'3", so they're used to having a huge height advantage against their opponents because being 6'3", 155 is insane. And here they are. They're both the same height. Now, who uses their height better? Probably Ignacio. Probably. He's a longer striker. He keeps his distance and all this stuff. And then Jalin Turner, well, he uses his limbs for submissions at times. But let's talk about these two fighters. We'll talk about Jalin Turner first. Jalin Turner, the Tarantula. Okay. Shout out to the Tarantula. He's only 29 years old. I'm looking at this guy, and he's got a -10 aura about him. Like, he's got negative aura is what I mean to say. Man, I'm not hip like the kids. I don't know what the fuck they're saying. But listen to me. Jalin Turner, that last fight against Renato Moicano, I picked Moicano because the odds were insane. And we got it right. Now, what did he do in that first round? He absolutely smoked Moicano. And we looked silly. If you don't remember, he gave him the finishing move. He knocked him down. And then he turned around to celebrate and walked away. The ref did not stop the fight. Moicano was still very aware of what was going on. Now, they say there was an adrenaline dump and all this shit, and then he got beat up in the second round. Well, there's going to be no grappling in this fight, at least not from Ignacio. Like, Ignacio Bahamondes is a striker. There's going to be no grappling. So, Jalin Turner's got a puncher's chance in this fight, and I think the odds reflect that. They have a -130 or a -110 or something like that. It's like even odds. And when I look at these two fighters and you're getting even money, it's because Vegas understands this is going to be a striking match. And if it's going to be a striking match, both these guys got weapons. They can scrap. They can scrap. And here's the thing, though. When you're fighting southpaw versus orthodox, and if you don't know what that means, southpaw means left-handed, orthodox means right-handed. And when you're right-handed, your right leg is back. When you're left-handed, your left leg is back. These are your power weapons. And when you're not mirroring each other, orthodox versus orthodox, southpaw versus southpaw, when you're not mirroring each other, that means your power leg, if you will, is going to be back, and your opponent's going to be back on the same side. And now that leaves you open for kicks. You're going to catch body kicks, kicks to the forearm. This matchup alone tells you Bahamondes is going to land kicks, and they're going to be there, and he throws a number of kicks. He's got it going on. Now, Jalin Turner got everybody excited because he damn near unalived King Green in that knockout on December 2nd of 2023. Like I told you, Hadley had no desire to save King Green in that fight. King Green took way too much damage in that fight. So much damage, he changed his name to King. But we're talking about a guy that's lost 3 out of the last 4 fights. And I think Bahamondes would have a tough time beating 3 of those 4 guys as well. They just, stylistically, they pose problems. Gamrot's a crotch sniffer. Dan Hooker's a decent fighter. But even in the Dan Hooker fight, they come out and tell me Dan Hooker broke his arm during that fight, and he still beat you? And it's just a mentality thing, right? It's just who's the meat eater here. Jalin Turner is not a carnivore. He's not a killer. I'm gonna tell you guys a true story. When I was a young man, when I was a kid, the thing we used to do to see who was stronger than each other is we used to arm wrestle. I'll never forget this. We used to arm wrestle. I'm talking 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, whatever it was. We used to arm wrestle. We'd be on a lunch table and we'd arm wrestle. And I used to arm wrestle my twin brother all the time. And I knew I was stronger than him. And I knew I was going to win every single time. But it did not matter. When we started the arm wrestling, they'd say, ready, set, go. We would be stuck right in the middle. And everything I got is going into this thing, and it's not moving. And the only thing that kept me going was I knew I'd eventually win because I've done it before. I mentally knew, even though I physically am going nowhere, we're just stalemated and we're stuck. I know that guy's going to quit before me. And that's a true story. Never once in my life have I ever lost arm wrestling to that guy because you're not built for it. And I know I'm going to eventually win. I think Jalin Turner is the guy that quits in that arm wrestling match. I think Jalin Turner is the guy that quits when things don't go well. Have you ever, maybe some of you guys haven't ever sparred with somebody or fought somebody. I remember I was sparring with a guy, and I literally hit him as hard as I could. As hard, now he was wearing headgear, but I hit him as hard as I possibly could, and nothing happened. He walked right through it. He was there. He was still there in front of me. And it landed clean. And I thought to myself, what the hell do I got to do? And I did it again and again. And it wasn't until like the 6th or 7th one that he finally wilted and he stopped. And he took a knee. And then with the guys who were regulating the drill, they said, hey, Rico, dial it back a bit, bro. Dial it back a bit. And I thought, oh, that's what it takes to break someone? I got to get it, everything I got, multiple times before I break someone? That's why when they talk about somebody has one-punch knockout power, it's a lot different from these other guys who take several strikes, right? Jalin Turner is the dude that quits when it's flying. When it's all flying, he quits. And you know how you can just call it. The man's lost 8 times in his life, and half of those times, they were due to knockouts. He quits. Knockouts quitting, bro. Your body quits on you. He mentally quits. You see him shut down in the cage. His fight IQ goes to 0. Just quits. He's like, oh, what I was doing doesn't work. I can't get it done, and I quit. And when you look at a fighter like Bahamondes, there's 0 quit in this man, bro. This dude's from Chile. He's not Mexican. He's from Chile. Never been knocked out in his life. Never. He's got a chin. He wants to know what's happening. And if you go back and watch some of those fights, when he's knocking dudes out, look at his face. Look at his face. It's usually covered in blood. It's got damage all over it. But he knows one thing for sure. I'm not quitting before you. Because he's felt the victory before. It's a mental thing. It's mentality. And I'm telling you guys, if I had to put my hard-earned money on somebody to win, Ignacio Bahamondes is here. Now, he's not fighting a scrub. Jalin Turner is a legitimate fighter who has a real chance to win this fight. But if I had to bet on who's going to quit first and who's not built for the moment, I'm not betting against Ignacio Bahamondes. So when I tell you this guy's going to eventually win this fight, because he trains with champions, his fight team has champions in it, because he brings it in the cage. Dude, on UFC Noche, which was a terrible night for us gambling-wise, UFC Noche, he fought Manuel Torres. Do you know how badass Manuel Torres is? Manuel Torres is a monster of a fighter. Manuel Torres is 15-3 in his life. And guess what? He's been knocked out once. And before that fight, he had never been knocked out. It was 2 guys who have never been knocked out. Amazing records. And they did this Mexican on Chile, crime on crime, brown on brown crime. They made these 2 monsters fight each other. And Ignacio Bahamondes knocked him out in the first round. It's incredible. What people don't understand, like the willpower from this dude right here is for real. And I got to rock with it. Now, you could miss and you lose your ass. But you know what? I've missed betting on women's fights that I don't believe in. I've missed betting on early prelim fights of fighters I'm not quite sure who the hell they are. I've missed on heavyweights, and I'm like, oh, he got knocked out. I know one thing. I've been watching this guy fight for a while now, at least 5 years. And every time he gets in that cage, He's got a fucking lunch pail with him. And he's not the first one to quit. Now, yes, he lost to Ludwig Klein. It was a very disappointing loss. But guess what? Ludwig Klein hasn't lost in like 10 fights. He lost to McDassie. That's a wrestler. Don't worry about it. And then he lost back in 2019 before I ever knew who the fuck he was. This kid is nice. He's beaten fighters like Trey Ogden, who has an incredible fight IQ. He beat Rong Zhu, who won us a ton of money a couple weeks ago. And when I see you beat Manuel Torres and you get Jalin Turner, thank you to the sports books, bro. Thank you to the sports books. You guys remember that other fight? I saw a UFC guy talk about. I saw another capper talk about this. He talked about, we have a fight here, and you got to be scared out of your mind to do what I'm doing. There's no need to make it a lock. The odds are even. No need to parlay it. The odds are even. Don't ruin shit. But you better put a full fucking unit on Bahamondes. A full unit. Or more. Whatever you can handle. We had the same attitude right there. Right there. Angela Hill, Ketlin Souza, even odds. And I screamed at you guys. There's just, I believe in one person more than the other. I really believe in Hill by points. It's not a lock, because I don't want you to parlay it with anything. I just believe in Angela Hill, and they're even odds. So here we have it. You got to put your balls on the table. And I'm telling you, MVPs, Ignacio Bahamondes is the type of dude that you feel comfortable putting your money on. Not fighting a scrub. This guy is not harmless. This dude has weapons. It's going to be a full first round where you're wondering, did I make the right decision? That first round is me stalemating on that arm wrestling. And I can't move this guy's arm. That first round's scary. You're not sure if you're going to win. But mentally, you have to know that you're just better. Like, you just have to know. In wrestling matches, we used to go shake hands before the match. They would drop this spotlight, and they make you go shake hands in the middle of the mat. And when you shake the other guy's hand, you would check to see what his grip felt like or how small his hand was. And I have giant hands, bro. My hands wrap around people's hands. And I remember the first time I shook hands with a dude, and his hands were as big as mine. And I thought, oh, shit. I don't know if I can impose my will on this guy. Ignacio Bahamondes is in a fight with somebody of equivalent striking ability. But it's his mentality that never has him thinking, oh shit, can I beat this guy? He doesn't think like that. He's going to shake your hand and he's like, oh, you're closer to me. Let's go. I can't wait till... You know what his nickname is? His nickname is La Hala. That is the cage. It translates to the cage. He lives to fight in a cage, bro. Put your hard-earned money on this man. And don't fucking think twice about it. Your friends don't know. But Rico knows. Good luck, MVPs.